Hello, and welcome to Control City Freak. This is the YouTube channel where we talk about interstate highways and the places that they are signed to go to. My name is Todd, and today we are talking about I-40. I-40, one of the great roads of these United States. Going nearly coast to coast, it is the third longest interstate highway. Today we will be talking about westbound I-40. Oh, what's that sound that I hear? It seems we are in Wilmington, North Carolina, downtown, aka Capeside in the classic TV show Dawson's Creek. Here's where we will begin our journey. If we turn around here from where we were just looking at the river, we can take this road from downtown Wilmington, and eventually we end up here, where we get the exit for North US Highway 117, which leads to the beginning of I-40. Here is the Begin West 40 sign. Nice of them to give us a begin sign when they did not give us an end sign, but good start, westbound, better already. We are now signed 40 to Raleigh and Jacksonville. Really no idea why Jacksonville is on the second line there. And also, Jacksonville? Although at this point we're deep down enough in I-40 that it's probably only local traffic, so they know what Jacksonville, North Carolina is, so I got no problem with that. This is pretty awesome. We are on the well-named Michael Jordan Freeway. Big fan myself. And sensibly named, since MJ grew up in Wilmington and then went to play at the University of North Carolina. And this is the road you would take for most of that route, so very well named. This sign used to stand there. It's no longer there, this Barstow, California sign. But North Carolina DOT got rid of it because it kept getting stolen over and over. And they replaced it with a sign that said Michael Jordan Freeway. You'd figure that would get stolen way more often. I mean, who's stealing this sign other than road geeks and people who really like Barstow? We get our first mileage sign here, Benson, Raleigh. Benson is fine as a secondary, but I hope they don't do any primary stuff. At 140, we continue, Benson, Raleigh. Oh, the conversation in the comments has been great this week, and we can keep that going with more and more subscribers. So thanks a lot. This is what it looks like at just a normal interchange here. We meet I-95. 40 is now signed for Raleigh Durham. I think North Carolina just likes putting two control cities on for the most part. We really don't need Durham here since 40 doesn't really go to Durham, and because Raleigh is the bigger city and the state capital and a major league city. We do get Durham here at the interchange with 440, and I'm fine with this one because this is the most direct route to Durham from here. 40 won't go to downtown Durham, but if you want to go to Durham, this is the way to go. I-87 will be here too, but right now the I-87 sign is still under a tarp. Now we get 40 to RDU Airport and Durham. It's a bigger airport than you think. And one of two airports with the significance of being places where I landed but did not get out of the plane. Other one was Buffalo. Now we're on 40 West, Chapel Hill, Greensboro. 40 doesn't actually go into Chapel Hill, although this is the way to get there from this point on the road. It does go to Greensboro, and Greensboro is the bigger city, but like I said, I guess North Carolina prefers to put two cities on here. We now get 4085 for Greensboro and 85 North Durham. This is correct. Another one of these giant signs. We're getting 40 west for Greensboro and Winston-Salem. So again, doing the two-city thing. Now we get 40 west for Winston-Salem with these roads heading toward High Point and Charlotte. This is kind of a weird one. I don't know what to do with this one. So Winston-Salem probably shouldn't be on the sign because 421 is what takes you into downtown Winston-Salem, not 40. 40 goes around Winston-Salem. And Statesville, it just doesn't feel big enough to be a control city to me. And with our second meeting of 421, we get just 40 West Statesville. Again, okay, the major appeal of 40 Statesville is that is the intersection with I-77. But I can't imagine there's too much westbound 40 traffic getting onto 77, because if you were going north on 77, you would stay on 421 here. It's faster. If you were going south on 77 towards Charlotte, you would have stayed on 85 to begin with. So again, why Statesville? This should be Asheville here. On 77, we do get 40 West Asheville. However, on local interchanges, we still get Hickory, which should not be. It should be Asheville. Here in the outskirts of Asheville, we now get Knoxville and Biltmore Estate. Again, they love signing Biltmore Estate in Asheville for some reason. And heading out of Asheville, now we get Canton and Knoxville. Again, this should just be Knoxville. I know North Carolina likes putting 2 cities, but Canton is not very big. Really, just Knoxville just helps motorists more, I feel. Here at exit 27, we do finally get just 40 West Knoxville, simply because we're going into the mountains and there's not really any more towns before the border. And Tennessee welcomes you. Tennessean is tenna-believin'. We meet I-81 right away, 40 West Knoxville still. I went to Knoxville once for about 5 minutes, went down, saw the Wig Sphere, unfortunately had to get right back on the road. Leaving Knoxville, 40 is multiplexed with I-75, and they are going to Nashville and Chattanooga, respectively. Here is where 40 and 75 split, and the signs make perfect sense, as they generally do in Tennessee. I mentioned this in the eastbound video. 840 is a really wide loop around, but apparently the Tennessee Department of Transportation prefers people to go well outside around Nashville. And I have driven through Nashville and the traffic's pretty bad, so I do get that part. East 24, West 440 for Memphis, Chattanooga, and 2440 for Nashville. We leave I-24. I-24 goes toward North 65. 40 goes towards South 65, so we see both Huntsville and Louisville sign there, along with 40's Memphis. Here's about the best view of downtown Nashville that we get from I-40. Now we meet I-65, so 65 South Huntsville, with 40 and 65 headed toward Memphis and Louisville. And now 40 and 65 split, so 40 to Memphis, 65 going back toward 24 since it's just one big loop for Louisville and Clarksville. Here we get a Tennessee mileage sign, Jackson 81, that's Jackson, Tennessee, not Mississippi, and Memphis 159. Here on the outskirts of Memphis, we haven't really even gotten into town yet, and we're already on 40 West Little Rock. Kind of surprised that we are not signing it still for 40 West Memphis or downtown or something like that. We do get a sign saying downtown Memphis, follow 40 West, but this sign would have been a lot more useful at that last interchange. This is not at any junction at all. It's just kind of on the road randomly. As before, 40 West Little Rock. And here we have, I think, the 6th largest pyramid in the world, and it's a Bass Pro Shops. Of course, it used to be the home of the Memphis Grizzlies and the University of Memphis. We cross the, as I've heard from a commenter, now open DeSoto Bridge into Arkansas over the Mississippi River. We merge with I-55 and we're on West 40 North 55, Little Rock, Blytheville, St. Louis. Now we get 40 West. I'm not sure why Forest City and Blytheville are there, although I do know Arkansas likes to sign 2 cities as well. Once beyond Forest City, now we get Little Rock and Fort Smith. I'm kind of surprised that they jump ahead to the next major control city instead of putting some sort of secondary between here and Little Rock on there. We stay with Little Rock, Fort Smith, meeting 440 in the outskirts of Little Rock. Here's where we meet I-30 that'll go into downtown Little Rock, with 40 now just signed for Fort Smith. I thought this was pretty interesting. Now we're getting Fort Smith, Oklahoma City, so we're signing well beyond even into the next state, with Arkansas's love of doing 2 cities on their signs. I'm surprised we don't get like Conway, Fort Smith at this point, since Conway is sort of big and kind of a big junction. Here is the exit for US 65 in Conway. Bring this up, I've been on this road once, a million years ago, but it was a fantastic road. This US 65 from Conway to Springfield, Missouri, lovely through the Ozarks. Check it out if you have a chance. We meet 49 and we get West 40, South 540, even though we're not officially on 540 yet, although this part used to be 540, so I understand why they do this here. And now 540 for Fort Smith and 40 for Oklahoma City. Welcome to Oklahoma. Typical Oklahoma mileage sign, Warner, Muskogee, Oklahoma City. Well done. I presume we're within the city limits of Oklahoma City at this point because the city limits sprawl a long way in OKC. But interesting that we get a sign for downtown OKC and then the next control beyond Amarillo. 240 west for Lawton and Dallas. West 40. This is kind of a weird sign. I know they always do it Oklahoma City like that, but this sign is obviously wide enough that they could have just spelled out Oklahoma City on there. We are meeting I-35, which will be multiplexed with, but we're just getting Amarillo. No sign for Dallas on here, but, you know, it's I-40, so that's okay. Oh no! Where did I-40 go? Ah, now it's back. I did the same joke in the I-35 video. Here's our best look at downtown Oklahoma City from I-40. So now we get Clinton, Elk City, Amarillo. Oklahoma keeps Amarillo on its mileage signs throughout. I gotta say, Oklahoma does a very good job with its control cities. Welcome to Texas. 40 on the Panhandle is a very boring drive, but fortunately there's a bunch of random roadside attractions that you get to see. So here is the Leaning Tower of Texas. Here's my own picture of it. And here's my own picture of what might be the tallest cross in the world, although the people in Effingham, Illinois would have something to say about that. And right off I-40, a famous Route 66 spot, the Big Texan Steakhouse, the home of the free 72-ounce steak if you eat the whole thing in an hour. Always wanted to stop by here, but never have actually made it. 40 West Albuquerque. Wow, that's quite a control city for Texas. Texas generally hates to sign anything that's outside of Texas unless it's, just barely, no Texas left to go. We still have 70 more miles of Texas. But when we look at random interchanges, we get signs for Vega instead of Albuquerque. So Texas stays Texas. Also weird on the mileage signs, we don't get Albuquerque, we get Tucumcari. Tucumcari is not that bad of a place to sign if you're going eastbound, but westbound, its major intersection with US 54 is pretty useless for westbound traffic because it's doubling back the other way. And Texas sticks with Tucumcari. Wow, what a welcome sign for New Mexico. New Mexico, of course, picks up this same mantle. New Mexico loves to sign Tucumcari over Albuquerque, so no surprise here. Once we are in Tucumcari, we get 40 West Albuquerque. We don't have signs for Santa Rosa the way we do in Albuquerque, and the mileage signs reflect this with Albuquerque on the bottom line and Santa Rosa along the way. So I don't know why they do it better going westbound than they do going eastbound, but they do. Here's a random 40 West through traffic kind of thing in Santa Rosa. New Mexico loves doing this. I think they did the same thing in Lordsburg or Deming or one of those places. And here we get 40 West Gallup. And I'm actually okay with this. Usually I generally would prefer the bigger city, and if they replaced it with Flagstaff, I wouldn't shed any tears. But Gallup is, big, especially for western New Mexico, and it's famous. Everybody knows Gallup. I don't know why, but everybody's heard of Gallup. Now we get Grants, Gallup, Flagstaff. I do remember that sign on I-25 saying Grants way back in the day, like back in the 90s. And I'm glad that they have changed that because Gallup is well better than Grants for that. Here in Gallup, we now get Flagstaff signs. This is quite an anomaly here. Holbrook, Flagstaff, Kingman. A mileage sign in New Mexico with not one, not two, but 3 out-of-state cities on there. There must just not be anything left here at this point. Or we're going to meet Arizona in like 2 miles. Arizona, state line. Come on, Arizona. You can do better than this. Although, honestly, this big red rock formation right at the state line kind of says, welcome to Arizona on its own. And about a mile or two on I-40 into Arizona, we do get a proper welcome to Arizona sign. I like this. Arizona, they do great with their signage. Minutes to Holbrook and Flagstaff, very useful. And here we go. This is the reason I love Arizona and its control city signing. This is fantastic. 40 West Los Angeles. This might be the best control sign anywhere. I love this. It's a long way to go to Los Angeles, but there's not really anything between here in LA. Los Angeles gives you very much a sense of place. This is very useful for out-of-town drivers. And for whatever it's worth, every time I've ever been west of 17 on 40, I was bound for at least somewhere in the LA area. Here we pass the Arizona Divide, the highest point on I-40, I believe. Now we get Williams, Seligman, Los Angeles, 487 for Los Angeles, pretty long. From what I understand, there was a sign for Los Angeles somewhere in New Mexico that was over 1,000 miles. I've never seen the sign before. It's long gone now, but if anybody has a picture of that, please let me know. I would love to see the picture of that one. Interesting that Arizona is not signing Kingman. Kingman is by far the biggest city between here and Los Angeles, and probably will one day be the final control city, which I do understand because Kingman is growing. The first time I ever was in Kingman was in 1997. Kingman has doubled in size since then, and plus I-11 will soon be there, so I get that. Weird that it's not on the mileage signs. Here we get Los Angeles, Las Vegas, because we have met US 93, so I-40 is signed for both. Historic Route 66, this is the Oatman Road. I've actually gotten off the interstate here and taken this road before. And this road is not for the faint of heart. It's quite a drive, this old alignment of Route 66. And you end up in Oatman, this very small, old west-looking city. So it was pretty cool when I did this a few years ago. But back to 40 proper, we are now at Needles 21, Los Angeles 276. Welcome to California. Oh, California, you can do better than that. That's the state sign. There is no other joke this time. This is it. And of course, Los Angeles comes off the mileage sign once we're in California, because California only likes signing cities that their interstates actually go to sometimes. Though they do sign places that they don't. They just don't sign their big cities. I don't know what California's doing. Yep, Needles, Barstow. This is at US 95, probably the biggest junction on 40 in California. Ludlow, Barstow. Ludlow, signing Ludlow from 78 miles out. This is Ludlow. This is the whole town. You don't need to sign Ludlow. Its population is 10. And now, Daggett, Barstow. California, Caltrans, I don't know what you're doing. And now we get Junction I-15 in 3/4 of a mile. The end of I-40, we get a 3/4 of a mile warning. We can't get 1 mile at least. And then we get this weird little sign, 15 South San Bernardino. Hey, 15 doesn't go to San Bernardino, so, you could just sign it for Los Angeles. And then 15 North Las Vegas, you have to get off on this surface street and cut over. And here is the unceremonious end to I-40, where it dumps into I-15 and soon meets California Highway 58, where it may one day be extended to Bakersfield. All right, thanks for sticking with me on this one. Let's check out Todd's The Way It Should Be on 40 West. It should be, in my opinion, Raleigh, Durham, Greensboro, Winston-Salem, Asheville, Knoxville, Nashville, Memphis, Little Rock, Fort Smith, Oklahoma City, Amarillo, Albuquerque, Gallup, like I said, I'm fine with Gallup, Flagstaff, and love that Los Angeles sign in Arizona. Wish California kept it up. Don't know why they don't. Thank you so much for watching Control City Freak. This has been an epic journey down I-40 and back, and I really appreciate your viewership. Please like, please subscribe. Thank you so much. My name is Todd, and keep on trucking.